third grade. Welcome to Writing, Module A, Unit 1, Lesson 3. For today's lesson, you're going to want to make sure that you have your chart of original story ideas and what-if story ideas that you came up with in Lesson 2. You're also going to want to make sure that, if that's outside of your writer's notebook, you're going to want to make sure that you have your writer's notebook or something else to write on. You'll need your writing tips from Nothing Ever Happens on 90th Street. And just like in the previous lessons, if you don't have a copy of it, it will be in this lesson. And you'll need a pencil or something to write with. So go ahead and grab everything that you need and meet me back here so we can get started. But wait, there's more. Let's pick up where we left off yesterday with Nothing Ever Happens on 90th Street. Remember, at the end of the part that we read, Eva was thinking up a what-if story. So let's see what she comes up with. From lampposts and ledges, dozens of pigeons swooped down to dine on Danish. Eva eagerly picked up her pencil and began to write again. "Bird!" Baby Joshua called out, pointing. "More bird!" he cried, panting. The bright red ball dropped out of his tiny fat hands and bounced onto the sidewalk. "Bye-bye, ball!" Baby Joshua screamed. The ball rolled off the curb into the street and straight into the path of a pizza delivery man on his bicycle. Notice how the illustration on this page really adds to the words in the story. You can picture what's happening by looking at this illustration. Let's keep reading. Everyone gasped in horror. Alexis Leora paused in mid-plie and leaped to the rescue. She got there just as the pizza delivery man landed, right side up at her feet. Alexis Leora looked down at the pizza man, and he looked up at her. And then something almost unimaginable happened. Alexis Leora smiled. "Are you all right?" she asked shyly. Her smile was sweet and bright. Her teeth were straight and white. It was the first time Eva or anyone on 90th Street had seen them. Oh my goodness. Not only is this a wonderful story, but did you see the play on words where the author, Eva in this case, rhymed, where she said her smile was sweet and bright, her teeth were straight and white? Sounds almost like poetry, right? Let's keep reading this page. "Yes," said the pizza man, smiling up at her. It was love at first sight. Pepperoni and peppers rained down on the happy couple. The pizza man pulled a pepper out of his hair as horns began to honk. Eva added this to her notebook and wondered what could possibly happen next. What are you thinking is going to happen next? A long white limousine was honking its horn loudest of all. The limo driver rolled down his window. "What do you want to block traffic for?" he called out. The back door of the limo opened, and out stepped a woman in sunglasses, wearing a turban and a coat the color of a taxi. That's a great example of using details to describe a character, one of the tips that Eva got earlier in the story. "There seems to be a problem, Henry," she said in a fake English accent. "There's some sort of accident here. Perhaps—" "It's Sandra!" someone suddenly screamed, interrupting her. "Sandra, can I have your autograph?" Mrs. Martinez called out. "Sandra Saunderson?" Mr. Morley blushed. Was Eva dreaming? There in the middle of 90th Street, larger than life, stood Sandra Saunderson, star of stage, screen, and the sensational soap opera, One World to Live In. Oh my goodness. Did you notice the adding of the play on words in that very last sentence? Remember, alliteration is when you use the beginning sound of words over and over again. Let me just reread that. There in the middle of 90th Street, larger than life, stood Sandra Saunderson, star of stage, screen, and the sensational soap opera, One World to Live In. You hear that? That's something that you might do in your writing. And we're going to save the next part of the story for lesson 4 so that we can move on to our lesson. Today's target is writers develop characters by describing them in detail, using traits, feelings, motivations, actions, the things that we've been doing in reading and will be doing in reading. So let's get started. Before we even think about the characters that we will be describing today, we need to choose a story idea. So what you're going to need to do is pull out your list of story ideas and those what if story ideas, and you're going to need to narrow it down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use one of my what if story ideas because I think they're going to be much more exciting than my original ideas. And the one I'm really feeling like I want to tell is the story about Tegan sneaking out the back door, and I have to try to find him. So that's the story that I am going to be writing. Boys and girls, you are going to need to choose the story that you will commit to and write today before you start doing the character work that I'm about to show you. So make sure that you do that before you do the character work. Now that I have chosen what I'm going to write, the story I'm going to write, the next step is to think about who the main character or characters in your story will be. I need to think about who my characters are going to be. Well, when I think about this story, the main character is going to be me, but I'm going to give myself a little alias, and also known as, that's what AKA stands for. I'm going to give myself a different name as I tell the story. So my character's name, which will be me in the story, her name is going to be Sammy. The other main character would be Tegan, but he's a cat, so he's probably not going to have a lot of things to say in the story. So mainly the character that I will be describing today is Sammy. And now for today's task. So the first thing that you're going to do is sketch the character or characters in your story. See the sketch of Sammy in the middle of the slide? Then you're going to describe him or her. Describe your character or characters. And think about traits, feelings, motivations, actions, and anything else that you can use to describe your character. So on my slide, I've got a sketch of Sammy. I have her name at the top. And then I've just jotted some things that I know about Sammy. I know that she's caring. I know that she's very energetic. I know that at one point in the story, she's going to be worried about not being able to find Tegan. But she's also fearless. She's an animal lover. And one thing that I know that I can use to describe her is she has dark, wispy hair. So this is my sketch with description with a description of Sammy's traits, feelings, motivations, and actions. As always, now it's your turn. So remember, the first thing that you're going to need to do is choose a story idea. And then you need to think about who the main character or characters in your story will be. And then finally, you're going to sketch the character on the Draw It slide in this Nearpod lesson, and then describe the character using traits, feelings, motivations, and actions, or anything else that you can use to describe your character in the open-ended part of the Nearpod lesson. So you'll be able to sketch your character and describe your character or characters. Good luck!